Good. We're good to go.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Tabitha.
I'm so excited to talk to you. It was
Yes,
so much fun interviewing you for your Ageless Body.
thank
Thank you
you.
for, thank you for having me on today to chat about it.
My
So we're
pleasure.
in the we're in the middle of the series right now, and this wonderful section is coming up in the series, and your interview actually comes out next week, which I would love to share with your audience my favorite piece. I know they've heard your voice, but it was just so precious to me when you talked about how our hearts are like the emperor, and our heads are the governor. And so often we let the governor lead. But when we stop and let the emperor lead and let the governor, follow through with what the emperor's voice is, then that's when we start to come into alignment and come into peace with our bodies. It's such a beautiful way to describe it.
Yes, so this comes from ancient Chinese philosophy. And the way the Chinese like to look at things is they like to look at the body as a kingdom or a country, right?
Mm.
And so when you have a country or a kingdom, you have citizens and you have people who do the work and people who lead, people who make the decisions, people who follow the decisions, etc., etc. And we also have different temperatures and seasons and a lot more because we're talking about a country here, but we aren't going to that now. But as far as this emperor, they say that the heart is the emperor. And if you think about the role of an emperor in a kingdom, the role of the emperor is to look after the citizens and to do what is best for the citizens, to have the citizens' best interests at heart.
Yeah.
And so that is the role of the emperor. And the role of the governor is to follow the edict of the emperor, right? To sort of do the jobs that the emperor needs them to do. And the role, and there's a third person in the team as well. The third person is the general. So like the army general, when you think of the army general leads the forces into action. I don't want to say battle because I don't like the concept of battle and fighting for the body. That's quite a common concept in our society, especially for, you fight cancer. No, you don't fight cancer. You go on the same side as cancer. But you have the general, and the general also follows the orders of the governor and the emperor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they need to be working as a team. If you can imagine, if you had the emperor saying one thing and the governor thinking another thing and the general doing another thing, it's chaos, right? Now, that is generally what happens inside our body, is that we have the emperor in our heart, the governor in our head, and the general, which is our gut. And these are actually, in more scientific terms, these are literally three brains. We have three brains in our body, and the definition of a brain is a network of neurons with intelligent purpose. So we literally have three networks of neurons with intelligent purpose inside our body, one in our head, one in our heart, one in our gut. And in all the work that I've been doing, and I certainly had to learn this for myself, is that most people are living from the head. It's like the governor has taken over. And the heart, the emperor is just being totally shoved aside. And then the general can't do its job. It just gets completely confused and it just gets locked up and frozen. So we have to learn how to listen to the emperor and also listen to the general, because the general actually has a lot of good input. And most people, what they're doing is they're ignoring the heart or the emperor and the general or the gut. And together, those two brains or leaders, I call them the body intelligence. So we can actually make it simple and say we have a head intelligence and a body intelligence, and most people are trying to make all their decisions with their head intelligence, but their head intelligence is not designed, or the governor is not designed to make all the decisions. It needs to listen to the emperor and the general, and then they need to come to a combined conclusion, for making really good decisions. And then we're in integrity, we're in alignment, which means they're all lined up working together as a team.
It's helped me so much in getting clarity in listening to my governor and my emperor. So I really appreciate, and the general. So I really appreciate that wonderful analogy that you gave. And there's so much more that you shared in the interview as well. So I'm so excited to send that out next week and for everybody to hear that. For anybody that's watching, and if you guys want to jump on and see these interviews and Kim's interview that comes out next week, you can do that at youragelessbodysummit.com.
I will put the link afterwards. I can put the link on.
Awesome. Awesome. And Kim, you were just telling me too, you have some amazing stuff coming up next week as well. Will you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes. Well, it's sort of connected with what I've just been talking about. Because it's Chinese philosophy, and I'm launching for the first time ever a brand new online series, which is called Opening Your Heart to Love. And it's not about opening your heart just so you can find your ideal partner. That's not what it's about, because a lot of people can think that initially. It's about going into your heart and learning, and other parts of the body as well, and learning how to trust again, to be open again, to experience true love, which is not, our sort of fantasy love that most people, want. How to experience real deep gratitude, and how to develop what are called the 5 essential qualities of the heart, or the 5 Shin qualities of the heart, in order to truly open our heart. Because it's only when our heart is truly open that we feel connected with ourselves, for a start, with our higher self, soul, whatever you like to call it, and with the world at large. And it's only when we have this openness in our heart, and obviously I'm talking energetically here, not literally physically, but when our heart is energetically open, information can move in and out freely, which means that we have things coming to us that we say we want, because usually we say we want things, but then they're not coming to us. And when we go, well, why aren't I creating the life I want? Why can't I get the job I want, the partner I want, the house I want, the money I want? And a lot of it has to do with the fact that our heart closes down energetically. But because it's been so closed for so long, we don't know that that's happened. And of course that happens because of upsets and pains and hurts and traumas and all that sort of stuff that happens to us. We unconsciously close our heart, so we don't even know what it feels like to have an open heart. So there's a free introductory series, which is what I'm offering through your summit anyway, I think. Where people can have a sort of a mini experience of what it's like to have an open heart. But it's a meditation series where you just listen to some tracks. It's super, super easy, super quick, and really effective. So, if one practices regularly, it really has the ability to transform one's life.
Absolutely. It doesn't necessarily lead you to the love of your life, but eventually, as we open our hearts, all the things that we are wanting in our lives, we can start to let in, and that may be one thing for people too.
Yeah, because what happens is, and Dr. Bradley Nelson talks about it a lot, we create what's called a heart wall. We create a wall of energetically around our heart, using actually all the emotional hurt and pain that we've stored inside of us. But the problem is we simply don't know we've done it. It's like this protective mechanism that has been there so long, it's just normal. We don't even know to question that it's there, because we simply don't even know it's there. But the way we know it's there, and on the free series there's a big long list of how to checklist of have I got this, and this. It's like, if you feel lonely, if you feel happy, if you're sick, if your life isn't working, in any way, then these are signs of a closed heart.
Yeah, and one of the ways that you described it in the interview is where you're all here and you aren't aware of anything below the head other than thoughts. And I remember, a time in my life where that's all it was. It was just spinning in my head and had no awareness of whether my heart was open or what my heart or my gut was feeling about a specific situation. So I can completely understand what you're talking about. I'm so glad that you're offering that for people.
And that's
Very
why
powerful.
I always say one of my favorite sayings is the key to healing and the key to change is awareness. Because once we have the awareness, then we can make changes. But until we have that awareness, we're not even aware that something is missing or that we need to change something or that we can change something.
Yeah, wonderful. And I know the people that are listening to the series are getting the free link in their email. Are you, how are you letting people know about the series when it comes out next week, on your Facebook or your email or both?
Well, if they sign up for the free series, and I think because we did the interview a while back, but I think it was the link that I gave you to the free introductory series, then it has the link to the one starting next week in it.
Wonderful.
Or they can just go to my website, or they can, I can also, put it on the page after our chat.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure people have that connecting point to you. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. I'm so excited to send your interview out next week. I know people will absolutely get so much out of it.
Thank you. Thanks, Tabitha.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Kim.
Bye.